Hi guys, and welcome to our next English class. Today we are working on Unit 6, Week 2. And this week we're going to be talking about the weather, all right? And most importantly, we're going to be talking about how can weather affect us? Weather affects us. How's the weather? Turn on the weather report or look outdoors to find out. Is it sunny? Is it raining? It's important to know what the weather is. What's today's forecast? Warm and rainy with a side of fun. Weather is what is happening outdoors right now. It affects how we dress and what we do. Sometimes severe weather affects the way that we live. So how does weather affect us? All right, well, it affects what I wear. What can I do today? How can I live? These are three things that the weather could affect about your day. Now let's take a look at our vocabulary words for this chapter. So our first vocabulary word that we have is argue. Now if I argue, it means that I'm going to have a debate, which means I'm going to give you reasons or cite some evidence to support an idea or an action, to support what I think or what I feel, and also to try to persuade another person to have that same belief. James and his grandfather sometimes discuss movies and argue about them, right? So two people, they don't agree. Next, we have astonished. So astonished if you're greatly surprised or impressed, amazed. Tammy and Kim were astonished and amazed at the big bug they found. Next up, we have complained. Now, if you complain, it means that you are saying that you're not happy with something. Ugh, I hate the broccoli. I don't like my hair. I hate this dress. You're complaining that you don't like something. Ben complained about his dinner because he didn't like peas. Conditions. So conditions are the state of something with regard to its appearance or its quality. So what condition is something in? Mark's umbrella was ruined by the windy conditions. Now, we have forbidding. Now, if something is forbidding, it means that it's very unfriendly or threatening in appearance. The sign is forbidding us to swim in the pond. You cannot do it. It's not friendly. It's not safe. All right. Next up, we have forecast. Now, a forecast is when you predict or you estimate something that's going to happen in the future. The weatherman says that the forecast today is sunny and warm. Now, it's only a prediction. They cannot guarantee 100% what the weather's going to be, but they just predict the weather. Next, we have relief. Now, if you have a relief, it means that it's a feeling of reassurance and relaxation after maybe you've just had a big anxiety or a lot of distress. So, it was a relief that Mom found my dog and he was okay. Stranded. If you're stranded, it means that you're left somewhere without the means to move or go somewhere else. You're all alone. You cannot move from one place to the other. Patricia was stranded at home during the rainstorm. All right, now that brings us to our story for today. And today we have a historical fiction story, and those are actually some of my favorite because historical fiction means that we're going to be talking about something that took place in history, but it's a not true story. That means that it has made up characters, but it's taking place sometime that actually existed. So we're going to see how people lived in a different time, and we're going to be reading how a blizzard affects the Hernandez family in New York City. All right, so let's turn to our first page. I want you to read through the page, and when you finish reading, hit play, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. All right, so what happened in 1947? All right, awesome. So the blizzard happened in 1947 and is the biggest snowstorm in New York City history. Now, something happens. Papa gets stranded. Where is Papa stranded? Very good. It tells us that it says, "Oh, Mama," whispered Rosa, "will Papa ever get home from work? He must be stuck at work and unable to get home." Okay, so he is stuck at work. Now, what did New York City close down? They closed down something so people would remain safe. What was it? All right. If you said that they closed down the subway system, then you are correct. So they couldn't take the subway to get to work or to get from work. Anything, they would just have to walk. So that is why Papa is probably stranded at work. What does Mama want to do? All right, Mama needs to go to Maria's market because she says they are out of milk and bread. And these are important things if you are stranded at home. All right, go ahead and pause, read, and start again, and we will talk. All right, so how do Rosa and Eddie feel about going to the market? All right, well, we could say that they were not very excited about it. No, they were very sorry. They were very excited about it. It says that they were tired of being indoors, right? So they were excited to go to the store together, all right? Now, what happens when they get outside? Yeah, they see a lot of snow. So how does Mr. Cullen help the family? Very good. It says that Mr. Cullen arrived with two metal shovels and helped to shovel them out of the snow. Now, why does Mrs. Sanchez need some help? Ah, that's because she is stuck in the snow too. So now the family is going to help Mrs. Sanchez get out of the snow. Okay, so was it very hard work to help Mrs. Sanchez? No, very good. It is not because it says that shoveling the walk in front of the store was easy. It was a piece of cake. All right? Now, how does the weather affect the Hernandez family? Well, it's affecting what they can do that day. They cannot just go out and get groceries and go to the store. They have to get shovels and they have to shovel snow in order to walk to the store. Papa's stuck at work, and he finally gets home, which Rosa and Eddie are very excited about. Now, what does Papa tell Rosa and Eddie when he comes home? Very good. He says that, "I am so proud of you for helping our neighbors." Now, I want you to remember that because that's going to be part of our theme for the story today. Now remember, a theme is the author's message. What is the author trying to tell us? Now, in this story, people needed to work together to make the job easy, right? And it's good to help other people. So our theme for today is It is good to help other people. It makes the job easier. All right, when we all work together, the job becomes easier to do. Now, show me 3 details from our story that says it's good to help other people. All right, so let's go back in our story. Well, first it says that Mr. Colin came and helped. And what did he help do? He helped to shovel snow at the family's house. All right? So that's one way that we can see that people are helping one another. Another way is that Rosa and Eddie help their mother go to the store, right? Mama doesn't go to the store by herself, but Rosa and Eddie are excited to go outside. So they say, Mama, we'll go to the store with you. We'll help you. And another detail that we can see from the story is that they all work together to help Mrs. Sanchez clear snow from the store. So these are 3 different ways that people are helping each other in our story today. All right, so that's a good lesson from our historical fiction. Now we're going to move on to our vocabulary, guys, and let's just review. So our vocabulary words for this week were forecast, argue, relief, astonished, forbidding, conditions, stranded, and complained. Now we're going to use 4 of them and we're going to put them in a sentence, okay? The other 4 you guys can work on for your homework this week. So first we have the word stranded. When the bus wouldn't start, how could we finish this sentence? When the bus wouldn't start, we were stranded on the street. All right, perfect. You know, one time that happened to me. The bus broke down and I couldn't get to work. I was stranded. All right, number 2 we have is conditions. All right, during the winter months, let's think of a way to describe the conditions during winter. We could say during the winter months, the conditions are cold, snowy, and windy. Number 3, our word is argue. Now it says, it is not polite. How could we finish this? We could say, it is not polite to argue at dinner. Maybe it's just not polite to argue, but especially it's not polite to argue at dinner, for sure. All right, number 4 is forbidding. There was a large sign forbidding, what would it be forbidding us to do? There was a large sign forbidding us to cross the street. No crossing, no walking. All right, very good. All right, on to grammar this week, and we're going to be talking about adjectives again, all right? Now, let's take a look at our grammar box. It says that an adjective that compares is a descriptive adjective, okay? So if we're comparing, it's describing something. You can use adjectives to compare 2 or more nouns. Now, we want to add ER to an adjective that compares 2 nouns. And we want to add EST to an adjective that compares more than two nouns. Okay? So remember, if there's two nouns, we want to have ER. If there's three or more, we want to have EST. Let's look at number one. This pumpkin is bigger or biggest than the one I grew last year. Well, because there are only two nouns, the pumpkin and the one from last year, there's only two. That means that it's going to be bigger. Number two. Is the sun the closer or closest of all the planets? Answer? All right, so it's going to be closest because it says all of the planets, so that's more than two. Number three, this is the sweeter or sweetest orange I've ever eaten. What do you think about that one? Well, it's comparing it to all of the oranges that they've ever eaten, so it's definitely going to be sweetest, more than two. That clap of thunder was even louder or loudest than the last one. What do you think? Yes, it's going to be louder because we're only comparing two claps of thunder. Now, some adjectives, it says, change their spelling when ER or EST is added, okay? So, when an adjective ends in a consonant and a Y, we're going to change the Y to I and add ER or EST. Now, when the adjective ends in E, you're going to cha-cha or drop the E and add ER or EST. And lastly, when an adjective has a short vowel sound before a final consonant, we're going to double the final consonant and then add ER or EST. Now, for example, this would be biggest. We have two G's instead of one, biggest. All right. Now, let's go ahead and let's try to write this in the correct form. So big becomes bigger, B-I-G-G-E-R. Sunny, we got to add an R, becomes sunnier. We need to change the Y to an I. And blue. All right, so we change it to bluer. All right, we don't need to have two E's. We only need to have one. We drop the one E and add ER. All right. Now we need to add est. So now funny becomes funniest. F-U-N-N-I-E-S-T. We have to change the Y. Safe. Well, safe becomes safest. Only one E and not two, so we have to drop the E. And last we have fat becoming fattest. F-A-T-T-E-S-T. We need to have two T's because it has a short vowel sound and a final consonant. Fattest. All right, very good job. Now that takes us to our draft motto for today. Let's go ahead and let's read it. It was the middle of July. Summer is tornado season in Michigan. It was supposed to be a nice day. The sky started getting dark. Tornadoes can form quickly. My brother was surprised at how fast it appeared. Now, what we want to do is we want to revise this paragraph in order to link or connect words together or sentences together that are connected, okay? And a good way to do that is by adding conjunctions, okay, or a linking word. So let's take a look at number one. What linking word might connect the first two ideas? Well, it says it was the summer of July. Summer is tornado season in Michigan. Well, a simple word to combine them could simply be and. That fits perfectly. It was the middle of July, and summer is tornado season in Michigan. Now, what linking word might show how the third and fourth ideas are different? So we want a linking word that shows us contrast. It says, the sky started getting dark. Tornadoes can form quickly. All right, any ideas? We could say because. We could say, that's probably the best, the sky started getting dark because tornadoes can form quickly. Now, what linking word might show the relationship between the last two ideas? It says tornadoes can form quickly. My brother was surprised at how fast it appeared. We could say tornadoes can form quickly. Any ideas? We could also say and or so. Anything that links them together, okay? So all we need to do is really just find some conjunctions that link this paragraph or that link this model together, okay? So let's just go ahead and let's just add these conjunctions in to show how they are related. Here we go. It was the middle of July, and summer is tornado season in Michigan. All right. It was supposed to be a nice day, but the sky started getting dark. Tornadoes can form quickly. And my brother was surprised at how fast it appeared. All right. You know, another word that you could even use here, there are many. You don't have to use and. You could say tornadoes form quickly, but my brother was surprised at how fast it appeared. Tornadoes can form quickly, so my brother was surprised at how fast it appeared. All right? Now remember that you don't always need to use the same exact words, that there are different options, but you have to look at the relationship between the words. And you want to make sure that you are putting the correct form in the sentence, all right? All right, guys, good job with our practicing today with our vocab and grammar. Practice this week, learn the vocabulary, and I will see you next time for a brand new lesson. Bye, guys.